Karibu sana. Tena wakili Charles Wanjohi. Kwa ana tamodo hizo.
Tena wewe.
Wakili.
Salama sana.
You know, unajua sasa watu wengi wananiambiaga JD unaongea Kikuyu sasa tutajua hii mambo namna gani. But well, I think we're going to be national and international. Let's use the language that people can understand.
Okay, any language. Salama sana.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you for coming hapa Seattle. Although hapa najua is your another home.
It's my second home.
Right.
Yes.
Uko aje?
Mimi niko salama. Bado tunangangana na hii kazi ambayo Mungu alituita.
Kama wewe ni lawyer, chapa kazi yako kama lawyer.
Sasa hakuna nyingine huku.
Yes. Wow. Now when we talk about immigration lawyer, ama mtu ambaye anawakilisha watu ambao wako hapa wanataka kwenda kwa koti ama mambo kama hayo, of course everybody get interested because ni kama kila mtu anataka kukuja Marekani. I mean, do you get this kind of request?
Yes, we get all kinds of requests. When everyone hears we are immigration lawyers.
Yes.
Everyone thinks that we'll do anything which entails immigration.
Right.
So you will hear somebody calling you all the way from Kenya, from South Africa, from Saudi, from all those countries.
Right.
They want you to bring them here. And again, there are those who are here in the United States. They need our assistance. They want us to represent them.
Right.
So vile tunafanya, tunasikia maneno yako. Kama wewe ni mtu ambaye kwa category tunaweza saidia,
yes,
tunakusaidia. Kama huko tunakuambia pole. Lakini tunakupatia guidance ile tuko nayo.
Right. Of late nimeanza kutembea every state. Na well, ni mambo ya investment and of course people ambao wanaweza pia saidia the community. Sisi wenyewe tunajinua, and I thank God because umenileta hapa Seattle. Na labda kuna watu wengine pia wako state zingine, they would really want your services, hawajui watakupata namna gani. Ili tulete hii nje ya hii kidogo.
Okay.
Kitu kama hiyo. Hawajui watakupata namna gani. So when I bring you here, najua wanajua tumeguza wakili. But well, first of all, we thank God for the people who came to our dinner. At least na walikuja na niliona wako na maswali mingi.
Ilikuwa mingi, but I really enjoyed. I also got a chance of meeting some of my clients whom I've never met. I've represented them for more than 5 years.
Wow.
Yes, it was the first time I met them. So it was awesome. Watu wa Seattle, nyinyi ni watu wetu.
Kabisa.
Yeah, you did some great honor.
Thank you for coming to our dinner. Na of course, Reverend James, pale tumetoka Milton Church leo. Upande wa All Saint Cathedral.
Yes.
Tumekula vizuri, mmetupa nafasi, and we thank God for you.
Na hata yule alihubiri.
Yes.
Huyo mhubiri alikuwa mchezo.
Mungu ambariki sana.
Lazima sasa mtu ajue asikue visitor.
I know, you are right.
Hiyo tulishika.
Kabisa. Thank you very much. Now, mambo ya immigration sasa sisi tutaianza wapi? What are those things that you feel like lazima you tackle, especially now kwa hii serikali ya Biden ambayo inatarajiwa kutoka hivi karibuni?
The first thing tunasema ni opportunities. Kama uko na opportunity for any benefit, this is the time you have to look for it.
Right.
If you think you are eligible for a green card, this is the time to do it. If you are there, you are a green card holder, and you have not applied for citizenship, this is the time to do it. Because in the last few years, the USCIS have been very, very friendly and efficient in regard to paid applications. Kama green card, change of status, citizenship, hizo zinakimbia haraka sana. So sai tunaambia mtu kama uko eligible for anything, this is the time to apply for it. Lakini wala hataweza msikufe moyo, sio lazima ashindwe, pengine tunaomba na tuna hope atawin.
Awesome. I know kuna watu ambao wamekaa na green, unajua green card sijui period yake sana. I hear kuna tofauti ya green cards. Mimi nilikuja na ile ya 10 years.
Okay. So ukipata green card kuna aina mbili tu. Kuna conditional na kuna ile sasa legal permanent resident ile haina any conditions.
Right.
So vile ufanyika ukipata green card permanent resident, you automatically get a card for 10 years. Lakini haimaanishi utakuwa green card holder for 10 years. Prove ndio unakuwa nayo for 10 years. Once you become a green card holder, or now the legal term is legal permanent resident, you become a legal permanent resident forever unless it's revoked by immigration judge. So vile ufanyika, kuna category nyingine inaitwa conditional. Hiyo ni ile sasa umeoa citizen, amekufailia, ama green card holder amekufailia, halafu the time you are getting your green card, you have not celebrated your second anniversary of your marriage. So kama mmeoana na unapata green card na hujamaliza miaka miwili, as of the date ile hiyo green card inakuwa approved, unapata hiyo conditional residency. So itamaanisha after 2 years, hiyo conditional iliwanga iko 2 years. After 2 years, unaweza, you are required to file another petition to remove conditions. Sasa ili sasa ukue full permanent resident. Yes.
So nani nawekanga conditions?
Ni USIS. Ni sheria inaangalia, inakinga, or rather they are trying to fight marriage fraud. Kwa sababu kuna watu walikuwa wanaoana, mkienda pale mkipatiwa green card, the same day mnaachana na unaenda kivyako.
Right.
So sasa hiyo ndio ilifanya walete hiyo sheria, ili hutapata green card, uane kesho upate green card the day after you divorce. So it's just to ensure that the marriage is genuine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So kama uko na hiyo opportunity, labda sawa hizi mumeoana hivi karibuni, ni vizuri kuanza kuweka hiyo kitu, si ndio?
It's always, unajua, the earlier you file, the sooner you become a permanent resident, and your path to citizenship inakuwa shorter. So as long as uko na evidence, as long as there is evidence of your dating, of your living together, there is no need of waiting.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's talk about asylum, because watu wengi sana when they get to this country, especially hata wale wako Kenya, wana advise the moment you come to the US, we file asylum. I mean, what is this animal called asylum?
So, asylum is one of the humanitarian reliefs which are offered by the US government. When you file for asylum, you are telling the US government that in case I go back to my home country, I'll be in danger. There's a very high likelihood that I'm going to face some harm. So your life will not be safe. Sasa ndio sheria inakuuliza why. You have now to show why you think you will not be safe if you go back to your home country. And now you give the reason. And once you give the reason, the law will look at to why you are afraid. And they will want to see whether the reason you are afraid of going back is the harm you might get. And the underlying reason for that harm, which you feel you will get if you go back, is that based on race, your religion, your political opinion, your nationality, or based on membership to particular social group. Right. So if you show that you might be harmed, there's a likelihood of you being harmed if you go back based on one of those grounds. Yes. Sasa unapata asylum. So isipotan vile inamaanisha is maisha yangu itakuwa hatarini nikirudi kwetu. Kwa hivyo nisaidieni. Sasa the US government ita-consider kupatie asylum. Ukae huku kwetu mpaka ile siku either your country will be safe for you to go back or you apply for another status. And that status is green card, which you do after 1 year.
Oh, so now is there a time that you're supposed to file for asylum once you get to this country?
Yes. The law requires you to file for asylum within 1 year of arrival. Yes. Ukifika hapa, you have to file it within 1 year. Ama you can even file for asylum at the border. If you just get a chance of getting to the border or any port of entry, you can even file for asylum right there. That's why you're seeing this huge backlog to our southern, because of our southern border. People are coming from all over the world, and once you get here, all you need to do is you present yourself to any Customs and Border Patrol official, and you tell them that you want to apply for asylum, and the process starts at that point. Okay. Yeah, so it can do it from the first time you get anywhere near the border. and within 1 year. But if you don't file within 1 year because of some extraordinary circumstances which prevented you from filing within 1 year, you can file and you can be exempted.
Okay.
Yes.
So tuseme sasa hiyo unasema sasa tuseme mtu amekuja Kenya anataka kukatalia hapa. Anajua vizuri hata rudi nyumbani, anataka kufanya hiyo asylum. So anaweza akifika hapa tuseme Seattle hapa kwa Homeland Security aseme anataka asylum.
Yes, unaweza ukifika kwa airport useme unataka asylum. Yes,
uwezekano.
Utaulizwa, utawekwa ndani, uulizwe kwa nini unataka. If I can explain what happens when you get into the US. You go to the US Embassy in Nairobi. Let's now use Kenya for as an example. You go to the US Embassy and you apply for visa. You go for interview or you don't go for interview, you get your visa. Unapanda ndege. So the visa is the permission to travel to the US. Once you get to the border, which for those who are flying will be now at the airport, that will be your port of entry. At that point, you will present yourself to Customs and Border Patrol officer and you tell them, I want to enter United States with your permission. And I've been allowed to come to US. And this is my visa which is allowing me to come here. So you present yourself there and then the officer will ask you what's your purpose, what are you coming to do. They get your fingerprints, they do your little their stuff there, and then they allow you to come in. So you get admitted. The term is you get admitted to come into the US, and then you are told stay here for only this number of days. Don't exceed. Most of the time they tell people don't exceed 180 days. Now, once you present yourself at the port of entry, for some reason they might decide you're not going to allow you to get into the US. For example, if you say you are coming here for 2 weeks, and then you have like 5 or 2 huge suitcases, these people will angalia jiulize surely hizi nguo zote for only 2 weeks. Anaona hapana. Sometimes somebody anakuja, you are coming for vacation, and you ask how much you have in your pocket, and you say you have $200 or $300. Surely, huwezi kuja vacation in US you only $200 or $300. So there are so many reasons why the border official can decide not to let you in. Na atakwambia we are sorry. Because ukifika pale, once you present yourself, you are making an application to be admitted into the US. Sasa huyu mtu anaweza kwambia I'm sorry, I'm not going to
let you in.
To get you in. Now at that point, you are also given a chance. If you are afraid of going back to your home country, you can tell that officer that I am afraid of going back to my home country, and then you are detained at the airport. And then they will ask you, they will interrogate you and get to know why you are afraid of going back.
Okay.
Sasa hapo watasikia, wakisikia you have something close to a claim, then they will let you stay, and then an asylum officer will interview you, something called credible fear interview. If they determine that you have credible fears, then you are placed in a detention and you are given an opportunity to file for asylum.
Oh, wow. I think so just in case udipotiwe, because kuna watu would you advise mtu claim asylum akiwa pale ama kwanza yaingie?
We advise kwanza ingia.
Okay.
Kwa sababu when you claim asylum at the port of entry, you come in, you are technically not admitted. You are paroled. Paroled means that once you get here, you may not be able to adjust your status. For example, in so many categories. For example, you may come into US, na ukifika hapa ulikuwa single, upate mpoa na muoane. Then you apply for green card based on that. Because you are admitted and you are given that I-94. Lakini kama huku admitted, it means you hata ukifika hapa ukioana, you will not be eligible to apply for adjustment of status.
Okay. So tuseme sasa hii asylum wenye wanapatanga, because najua umefanya hundreds of cases za asylum na zimekuwa through. Hawa watu finally huanga wanakubalisha kwa kutembea like kurudi nyumbani. Kama mtu alisema anaogopa kurudi Kenya, I mean, what happened?
So when you apply and you get your asylum, you cannot travel out of United States without the United States government permission. And that permission is issued through something we call refugee travel documents. So you have to apply for a refugee travel document. When you apply for it, you have to say which country you want to go. Now, here's the issue. You getting asylum because you have fears of availing yourself to protection from your own government. So sasa, if you apply for asylum, you get asylum, halafu you want to travel, you apply for re-entry, you apply for refugee travel document, and you say you want to go to the same country, you want to go, your life is in danger. So it means you want to avail yourself voluntarily to the protection of your home country. Sasa inakaa sasa you are no longer eligible for asylum, because asylum can be revoked when your life is no longer in danger, or they discover you gave misleading information, or the conditions have changed in your own country.
Wow.
Yes.
So kama sasa wale watu walikuwa wanasema kuhusu Mungeke Kenya, sasa hiyo story ni ajabu. Sasa huko hawezi kubali.
Well, there are some legal, it's case by case status basis, so they will evaluate each case on its own merits. But once you get asylum, get refugee travel document, that's the one you use to travel. And you don't use passport, you use the refugee travel document. So in short, because you are a refugee.
So hakuna document kingine wanapeangwa hiyo ikienda through. Sio kama green card,
asylum. Hapana, ukipata asylum unapatiwa tu I-94.
Sasa hiyo ni kusema sasa labda kama nataka kwenda Kenya nipitie Tanzania.
Sasa sijui, acha tuseme hivi. Ukiwa na refugee travel document, you cannot use it to go back to your home country.
So just in short, na nataka kwenda kusalimia wa familia. Unajua kuna watu wanaambia kuja ufaila asylum. Ni vizuri wajue. Sasa kama unakuja umepata asylum, huwezi ingia ndege moja kwa moja mpaka Nairobi. Utaelezea in short.
Allow me niseme hivi. With the refugee travel document, you cannot go back to your home country.
Okay.
Because hapo itaonyesha your life is no longer in danger.
All right, now unajua green card resort is around the corner. Kuna wale watu walicheza green card, kisha tukuambia chezeni, wale wakacheza. But I've come to realize some people, mtu ako na bibi na watoto lakini anajaza yake peke yake. Yani like me, Jeremy, no married, no kids. Alafu anakuja hapa anaanza kusema ako na bibi na watoto. I mean, hizo cases umezipata, is it possible?
When you are green card through lottery is two-step process. The first process is playing. Ile saa tuliambia watu wajaze, ukaenda ukajaza. That's the first process. Now in that process, you're supposed to have been accurate, truthful, and no misrepresentation. That's the first step. The second step, once you are selected, you'll complete another form called DS-260. That's now the application for immigrant visa. Again, at that point, you are supposed to be truthful and accurate. If at the point you are doing 260, and at the point you play the lottery, if there's a discrepancy, you don't get that. You cannot get that visa to come here with the DV lottery because it appears you misrepresented when you played. Now, you can change. You can change from how you played to how you are applying, only if the changes have occurred after the day you played.
Okay.
So, for example, if I play today, I don't have a kid, and I'm not married, by grace of God, mapenzi ingiane nipate mtu tuoane, then I find myself lucky. At the point now I'm applying for immigrant visa now, that one DV, nitasema now I'm married and I will indicate the date of marriage. Na I will indicate nipatiana mpaka marriage certificate.
Hawata ninyima.
Hutanyimwa because your conditions have changed.
Na yule siku jaza atapewa.
Yes, atapewa.
Okay.
Because huyu sio ati mtu ulikataa kusema. You are not married at that point. So you did not misrepresent. You gave accurate information.
So how about sasa mwenye ataenda kuangalia May 4th akute amewin afanye harusi June?
What normally happens normally and how it should be is your life has to go on. Your life has to go on. But when you are applying for that visa, if they see you took an action to try and circumvent immigration laws, if it appears that and they have their own way of investigating and questioning you during interview, if they make an opinion that the purpose of your marriage after getting that was to circumvent, to ensure you bring in your people, at that point you will not get because you are trying to circumnavigate the law. They won't allow you. But if it has been coming natural, for example, you already have planned to wed. You have a wedding coming up in June, and then in May you find you are lucky. You'll be allowed. There would be a problem. So during the interview, at the point of questioning, you can tell them that, hey, and they will question you. And they know these things. So they will be questioning you. When was the first time you met? When did you plan for your wedding and all that? So if you are able to prove that this is something you had already planned before you got married, uko sawa. Lakini wakiangalia one like umeoa ili kuja na yeye, hapo kitaumana. So
the best chances is ukipata umewin, where go to the whole process alone. You'll be safe on that.
I know if you go alone, of course it's far much safer, but let your life run normally.
Okay.
Yes.
Aya, wakili, I know hatuna wakati mwingi sana, but of course maybe like I don't know whether there is this emergency travel document. Labda mtu hako in status, mtu out of status and then something happened, probably they have a case ongoing. Na amepatwa na msiba, anataka hii emergency travel document. Kuna kitu kama hiyo wana napeangwa?
Hakuna emergency travel document. Okay. Okay. The emergency travel document, if I can, for us who are here in the US, actually that one is issued by your own government. So for example, nimepoteza passport, my Kenyan passport, and I need to travel. And I don't have enough time to renew my Kenyan passport, I will get hold of our embassy and they can issue me emergency travel document. The closest we have now for those people who have immigrated here is something we call advanced parole. Advanced parole is permission to allow you to travel and come back, just to travel out of the country temporarily for some sort of emergency and come back. And when is it relevant? If you apply for green card and your green card is pending and for some reasons you find you have traveled out of the country with your 485, green card application form is called 485. If it's pending and you leave the country, the law assumes that you have abandoned your application. So if you have a pending 485 application and you want to travel, that's why people apply for advanced parole. And you apply for it so that once you travel, you're not deemed to have abandoned your application.
Right.
And second, that advanced parole is the one which will allow you to come back. Yes.
What?
But if you're out of status and you are in some hata huwezi kuwa eligible.
Hakuna kitu, hakuna permit kama hiyo.
us, we only advise people who have a pending green card application. Those are the only one we advise. If something happens, you can apply for it.
Okay.
Yes.
So if someone has applied for asylum and get an employer who can apply a green card for them, is it a problem?
It's not a problem, but anytime you are doing employment-based adjustment of status, you're supposed to be in legal status as of the date when you are filing for that application. So sasa mimi nimeenda hapo nimepata employer, for my 140 has been approved, and now it's time to file for 485. So I'm required to prove that I am in status. Now, when you file for asylum, it does not toll your status. It allows you to stay in the US until they make a decision in your application, but it does not grant you any status. So because of that, if you have applied for asylum and you fell out of status and you get an employer, then you might encounter some difficulties in changing, in adjusting your status.
Okay.
Unless you're eligible to get some waivers. Yeah.
The last question is, labda kuna mtu ako na citizenship ama yeye ni citizen anataka ku file for the nieces and nephews, wala wananiita uncles and aunties, na my brothers nataka kuwaleta. What's the process? I mean, is it possible?
No. If I can quickly run through who, as a citizen, you can file for your spouse, you can file for your parents, you can petition for your children, irrespective of their age or their marital status. So if you can categorize them, is spouse, parents, children who are the 21 years, sons or daughters who are married but over 21 years, married sons or daughters, and siblings. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So your nephews and your nieces, you can only bring them through your brother.
Okay.
Once it's time for your brother to come, if your nephews are siblings and the nieces will be at the 21 years, can come with them.
Brother akiwa hayuko na aliacha watoto?
Imeisha.
Wow. Anyway, so labda kuna mtu anauliza, maybe because I know you offer these services, ni state gani unapeana services zako za immigration? Mtu wako hapa ako na swali, kuna services zingine unaoffer ama tu ni za immigration?
We mostly offer immigration, but in our law firm, which is Wanjohi Muli Law, we also do some state cases. In North Carolina, my partner Attorney Muli does state cases. Okay. Civil litigation, divorces, DUIs, traffic tickets, all those, she does them. Immigration, we do them, me and her, we do them all over the United States. Okay. Personally, I do uncontested divorces here in Washington.
Zile hazina mvurutano. Wamesikizana, we are divorcing. They come in peace.
Unajua hiyo ndio huanga the last agreement.
I know. Okay.
Wow, yes, how tunasaidia.
Okay. Thank you very much, Awakili. Na thank you for also coming here. Well, labda namba yako nimeiweka hapa, but of course, the easiest way to get you.
Give us a call, and my cell phone number is 919-641-1293. We have an office number, which is 919-578-3691. And we have a toll-free number, which is 1855 Wakilis.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So consultation fee? Mtu akipiga simu anataka kusaidiwa, mna charge?
Sometimes we charge if we feel there's something which will take a little bit more of our time. But if we feel it's something which will take me just 1 or 2 minutes to explain something, we don't charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante sana my brother.
Tumeshukuru sana.
Ukirudi kule North Carolina wasalimie, and of course the next place I'm coming for dinner is North Carolina.
Kuja.
Huko tutafanya.
Kuja tutakuchijia mbuzi.
Kabisa. So watu wa North Carolina, I think I need to do this. I need to touch base with you guys, Reverend Komo na wale wengine wako North Carolina. I'm coming next.
That is my pastor, so kuja.
Asante sana. Thank you, Wakili.
Yes.
Just in case you have any question about immigration, about divorce, they said they tackle these issues, lakini ile haina ya mvutano, talk to Wakili. If you're in Kenya na you are not in the US, Wakili number 1 hawezi kukuleta America. Number 2, kama umewini green card hawezi kukulipia ndege. Number 3, I mean, he is right here just helping our people around here. Na ninajua watu wengi sana, everybody mwenye amekuja hapa na hako na zile status tunasemanga, anahitaji ya lawyer mwenye atamu advice. And of course, before we go, kuna mtu labda amekuja hapa as a visitor. Is it possible to change visitor visa to student visa?
Yes, it's very possible, and we do represent people a lot in that.
Right.
Yes, the process will involve you apply to a school of your choice, and the school, if they decide to admit you, they issue you with I-20.
Okay.
Then with I-20 and your evidence of ability to pay, your bank statements or your sponsor's bank statement, you can file for change of status.
Okay.
From visitor to student.
Okay.
And that one actually, if you're in a hurry, it's also an expedited process whereby you can file and within 15 days.
Imeapproviwa.
Yes.
Ama imeangaliwa.